Am I the asshole for keeping my daughter's rose garden in the living room despite my son's allergies? My daughter Felice absolutely loves flowers and has always wanted her own garden. Our complex doesn't allow outdoor gardens. So I surprised her by buying a nice indoor miniature rose kit for her birthday. She spent a great deal of time and effort into prepping the environment and cultivating them until they reached full bloom. They're super pretty. And every time we have visitors, someone compliments her on them. However, I noticed my son Matthew seemed to be coming down with something. At first I just figured he had a cold, but it lasted way too long for that. I also noticed he'd do just about anything to avoid the living room. Even to the point of skipping meals rather than sit in the dining room, which is directly adjacent to the living room. I finally asked him what he thinks he's doing. And he admitted he thinks he's probably allergic to Felice's roses. I told Felice about Matthew's allergies, but she pointed out that roses are typically hypoallergenic. And maybe it's something else in the house he's allergic to. I didn't think it was likely, though literally the only potential allergen to the roses. I brought up the idea that we might have to move the roses. But she can't think of anywhere else they can go. And neither can I. Our house is fairly small and all the rooms are close together. So I told her to just consider Matthew's allergies and left it that. Last night Matthew asked me if I could please move the roses somewhere else. I told him I could sympathize with his situation, but he'd have to ask Felice, as I wasn't willing to just axe all her hard work. He told me he had asked her but she refused. I told him there was nothing else I could do. Matthew got angry and said I was taking Felice's side like I always do. I told him I wasn't on anybody's side. They just had to work this one out for themselves. I offered to buy him some more antihistamines, but he just walked out cursing and has been in a bad mood towards me ever since. Right now I need some outside opinions. Am I the asshole for not caving in and moving Felice's garden? Most likely I'd have had to remove it entirely, and I would have felt horrible knowing how hard she worked and how proud she is of it. You're the asshole. Allergies outweigh a hobby. A human trumps flowers. Couldn't she just move them out of the apt for a few days to see if his allergies improve? If they do, then clearly the roses need to go. At least out of the communal rooms. Also, why can't she put them in her room? If someone has to be inconvenienced by the flowers, it should obviously be her. This can't be right. You can't possibly have typed all that out and not realize that you are completely and utterly the You're the asshole. It is plain to see who your golden child is. Everything for Felice. He is allergic to the roses. Yet you are hell-bent on keeping the roses despite his allergy. Why can't she put the roses in her room? Which is more important to you, your son's health or your daughter's feelings? YTA, you're giving your son unnecessary medication because your daughter refuses to compromise. The roses can go in your daughter's room and she can make space for it by getting rid of her other stuff. You're the asshole. Your adult daughter should be capable of understanding that her roses are not more important than her brother's health. If she doesn't, then you've raised her to be spoiled, entitled and self-absorbed. Now is the time to stop. If there's nowhere else the roses can go in the house that don't trigger his allergies, she can sell them or gift them to someone. You're 19 years late in starting to be a parent. So get on it. You're the asshole. You're only causing more damage to your son since his allergies won't magically disappear. Are you sure you aren't able to move the roses anywhere else? If you can't, Then you have to get rid of them if you want your son to be able to comfortably breathe inside the house again. You're the asshole. You really think it's reasonable to expect him to skip meals for the rest of his life so his sister can have her flowers where she wants him? That he can't go in the living or dining room anymore? I'm sorry, your daughter may need to move her flowers, but they are flowers. Your son is a human being. But if you keep making it so that shared living spaces are uninhabitable to him, then when he gets old enough to move, don't be surprised when he never visits. You're the asshole. Medical conditions are more important than pretty flower, for fuck's sake. Just admit your daughter is your favorite. He told me he had asked her but she refused. I told him there was nothing else I could do. Matthew got angry and said I was taking Felice's side like I always do. I told him I wasn't on anybody's side. They just had to work this one out for themselves. Mom, grow a spine and get the allergen out of breathing range of your child. You're the asshole. I am already looking forward to your future posts. Why did he not invite me to graduation? Why wasn't I invited to his wedding? Why won't he let me see my grandchild? It will go on. And each time you will ask, am I the asshole? And each time you would be correct. Wow. Matthew isn't wrong. You're favoring his adult sister and refusing to accommodate him and his allergies. You're the asshole. Felice can move them into her room. Or yours. Sorry buddy, I know the roses give you health issues, but I love her more. X200B. I offered to buy him some more antihistamines. My dude, how have you not gotten CPS called on you yet? Why not get a test done to see what he's allergic to? You're the asshole because this is information you could get before making any drastic changes. And assuming he is allergic and saying oh well is a pretty shitty thing to do. Do you even like your son? Your son started avoiding common areas instead of speaking up about the problem. Because you've already established his place in your house. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Allergies are serious, and yes, you can be allergic to roses. I've had to ban cut flowers from my home, and my brother hated me because he couldn't give my mother flowers for Mother's Day, which was his go-to because of zero thought necessary because of my allergies. You shouldn't pick your daughter's hobby over your son's health. You're the asshole. You're prioritizing one child's wants over one's needs. Matthew is allergic and avoiding the living room to the point he is isolating himself and not eating properly, but there's nothing you can do. Felice can keep them in her room or should be getting rid of them entirely. You're the asshole. Allergy is serious condition. If persistently fed by irritant, it may become worse up to disability. I would consider moving roses somewhere else or giving them away. You're the asshole. Health concerns outweigh flowers. Duh. Move the flowers. See if he improves. You're the asshole. I told him I could sympathize, but he'd have to ask Felice. I'm sorry. What? You're the parent. Why are you deferring the decision making to your child? Felice is 19. Maybe time for her to move out and get her own place where she can plant all the roses she wants to. You're a pathetic excuse for a parent. Your suggestion was really to get him more medication, rather than IDK, making it so he doesn't need to take any medication in order to live in your house. Editing BC. I accidentally hit the button to post before I was done. You're the asshole. Easy to say who is your favorite. You're the asshole. Put the roses in your daughter's room if they're so precious to her. This really does sound like you favor your daughter over your son.